Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I thought it would be fun to show you all the 25 books that I would like to read in 2025. So this is my 2025 TBR and all of these I'm really excited for. I've tried to mix in a few different genres so that I've got a mixture of things I would like to read. This was definitely a difficult one because I'm still obviously filming this right at the end of 2024, and so I'm like, what books am I actually going to end up reading? Who knows? I've chose the ones that I don't really have plans to read anytime soon, but obviously I'm looking forward to. I've also gone with all the books that are on my physical TBR, as that is my goal 2025 to get through majority of that. So let me stop rambling and let's just get right on into the video. Okay, so firstly we have this series. I'm not sure what this series is called. I have counted series in it, so this counts as 3 books just because I ended up really struggling. But first off we have Consider Me, and I'm not too sure what this is about, but all I know is it's sports romances. That's all I know. Carter Beckett is the NL's resident bad boy. Yeah, I'm not too sure what this one is about, but I'm going to guess it's like a bad boy type thing. He's arrogant, so maybe like an enemies to lovers thing. I'm not sure. I have read the back in a video before, but that was a while ago, so I don't really remember about too much. I'll try and avoid reading the synopsis or anything. I don't know what most of these books are about, but I just know we'll be here forever. Now obviously we have Play With Me, and this one is also a sports one. Oh, and I remember the trope with this is Captain's a little sister, so this one is going to be an interesting one. I'm very excited for this one. Yeah, so she's my best friend's little sister, and nobody's ever been as off limits as Jenny Beckett is to me. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Then we have Unravel Me, and if I remember correctly, this one, Rosie gives me all of her heartache, her laughter, and her son. So it's a single mother trope. So again, this is one that I'm really looking forward to picking up because this is like one of my favorite tropes, like single parent, and it's like golden boy, so like golden retriever vibes. Love that. So I'm very excited to get into this one as well. I thought I'd throw some fantasy into the mix, and we have A Study in Drowning. I was actually hoping to read this one this year, but never got around to it. I'm not too sure what it's about, but it has been more of a popular one more recently. I've been seeing it everywhere. But it says, Effie has always believed in fairy tales. She's had no choice. Since childhood, she's been haunted by visions of the fairy king and found solace only in the pages of Anchored. So that does sound really good. Obviously there's more to that. I'm just trying to speed run through these. But it's 2 rival students investigating the reclusive author's legacy, piecing together clues through his letters, books and diaries. They discover that the house's foundation isn't the only thing that can't be trusted. I'm looking forward to this one now. I do have a hard time fancy. I do believe I could be so wrong about this, but I do believe this might be YA, so hopefully it's a bit of an easier read. Like I said, could be so wrong about that though. And then with the fantasy we then have These Violent Delights. I actually tried to start this before about a year or 2 ago. I never finished it. No reason for it, it just wasn't the time to pick it up. So I do remember that it's kind of a enemies to lovers where they were actually like friends in the past and then something happened or something like that. I didn't get far into it, literally like a chapter or 2, so I don't really know like the main story about it, but I'm looking forward to actually reading this one because I have heard great things about it and that everyone loves it. And again, another fancy, What Lies Beyond the Veil. Again, I was hoping to read this one this year. I never did. I actually got the 2nd book, but I haven't got the 3rd and 4th yet because I wanted to actually start the series, but I'm not too sure what this one is about. It says, 100 years the veil has protected humans from the Fae. Safe behind their walls, humanity has turned from the old religion of decency and sin of the worship the new gods who value purity and obedience above all. This one does sound like an interesting one, and this one is a less popular one as well, so I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. So I feel like it's nice to go into the book sometimes when they're not popular because you don't really have everyone else's opinions. Not that that's what you should base it off, so, but sometimes it can affect like your ratings. Okay, then back to romance. We have The Darkest Temptation. I would like to finish this series. I was thinking about reading the first and rereading the first and second book, as first one I don't really remember much about. The second one, all I remember is it took me about 3 months to read, not because I just found it really hard to like get into, but the ending, as I actually was reading it, majority of it, I started to like it. I do want to read this one, but I'm like, do I reread the first 2 or do I not? I'm not too sure. I just don't want me not reading the other 2 to affect this one, in the sense of I don't, they're not like interconnected, they don't like connect or anything, different stories, different people, but I just feel like in my head I've got a negative view of the series, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, but this one will be on my TBR in general because I do want to get to this one. And then back to fantasy. obviously we have the Atlas Paradox. So I read the first one literally this month and I didn't enjoy it. I think I rated it 2 stars. I was quite bored, confused. I did say because I have the second one I would like to read it, so even if I DNF it, it's okay. I just want to get through the first one. So this one is on my 2025 TBR because I would kind of like to just get it over with type thing. I know that sounds really horrible to say it like that, but I just want to know if I like it or not and kind of move on. We have Good Half Gone by Taryn Fisher. I'd like to get into my thrillers a bit more in 2025 just because I do read them but not as often as I would like to. When I pick them up and I read them, I love them, I have an amazing time, but it's just not always something that I lean towards, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain. I pick them up, I read them, but I'd like to do it a lot more. I'd kind of like to make mystery thrillers on the same level as romance for myself. I'm not too sure what this is about. It says Irish Wolves saw her twin sister Piper get kidnapped, so why did no one believe her? Okay, I'll leave it at that. But again, this one I was actually hoping to read this year, but I never got around to it, although I did only buy it in like August, I think. But Taryn Fisher, I've read one book by them before, the one with Colin Hoover. What's it called? Never Never, and that was a dark one, so I feel like maybe this one will be same vibes. I don't know, we'll see. And then we have a whole series, and that is this series where we have the Heir, the Rebel, the Bully, the Spy, and the Savage. I am looking forward to this series so much. I have been wanting to read them for quite a while now, so I'm excited to finally get them off my TBR because I really enjoyed the first series by this author, and this is the spin-off series. Then we have Pucking Around. This is also one I'm really excited to read. Again, I kind of wanted to pick it up this year, but unfortunately never got around to it. I believe this is where she falls for 2 guys. So it says, I can't fall for a player, let alone 3. So I just feel like this one's going to be so good, and I have heard a lot of hype about this one, and I do believe it is also like a sports romance. I'm going to guess that hockey, I believe. No, I just feel like this one's going to be fun. The only thing that's putting me off is the size of it. Like, this is a chunky book, especially for a romance book. It's like, what could be in all of this? But I'm willing to give it a go because I've heard so many good things about it. Then we have The Guest by B.A. Paris. I would love to get into B.A. Paris writing, as I've heard that they are a amazing thriller author, and so this is the one that I recently got for my birthday, and this one does sound really, really good. It says a marriage at breaking point, a friendship turned toxic, and I've read the synopsis before, you've probably heard it, but it just sounds so fascinating and I would love to pick it up now. I just generally don't have the time, so hopefully in the new year I can pick this up and hopefully I'll enjoy it. It does seem like really quick reads, like the chapters doesn't seem long at all, and I just love thriller books where the chapters are like short, snappy, and you feel like you can read it fast. I just love those type of thrillers. And then on the B.A. Paris, I borrowed some books from the library, and I borrowed The Prisoner. I've talked about this in my library haul, so I'm not going to talk too much about these ones. Then we also have The Dilemma by B.A. Paris, and also The Therapist by B.A. Paris. These are the 3 other ones that I would like to read by B.A. Paris in 2025, as I have heard great things about them. And then while we're on the thriller, we also have The Split. This is the one where there's Felicity Lloyd, and she is on an escape from Freddie Lloyd, who has been serving time in prison and is now like chasing her, looking for her. So this one does sound so good, and I'm guessing by The Split, in my library haul video I said maybe they're like a husband or wife or something. It doesn't clarify that just from the last name, but I'm going to guess The Split. It could mean they did split or something. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this. And then we have The No Show by Beth O'Larry. This is the only one that I don't physically, I don't actually own from this author, and I have read 2 of this author's books, and I think I've rated them 3 stars. It's average. I do enjoy the stories of from this writer, and this one sounds very interesting, and I did get told by, I believe it was Donna actually, that she loved this book, and it's made me want to pick it up even more. So this one is basically about this guy who is meant to be in 3 places at different times, and he doesn't show up to any of them. So it's kind of like, where is he and why is he not showing up to these things that he's meant to be showing up to type thing. It's the no show. So I'm very excited to get on into this one, as it kind of like a mystery. It's like, what's happening, where is he? Then we have Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. This one I've been wanting to read for come out, but I haven't. This one is about someone who has face blindness, but they would also like to be an artist, and I've never read anything like that before, and it just sounds very interesting to read about and something new, which is always interesting when you're a reader. So I'm excited to get into this one. And I read the first, I think it's the first book, The Bodyguard. I really enjoyed that, from Catherine Center, so I'm excited to get into this one. Then we have The Institute by Stephen King. I have been saying for so many months, especially in my lives, that I want to read more Stephen King books, especially this one. I wanted to start it. I just never got around to it in 2024. I am quite disappointed in myself, but I'm going to get to it in 2025. You've heard it here first. I'm going to read it. Even if it's the first thing I read in 2025, I can't promise that. But I'm just saying I'm going to read it in 2025. That is my mission. If I don't read any of these books, fine. But I have to read this one, and that is the goal that I am giving myself. Because this needs to be read. Because I would like to get into more Stephen King. I've heard amazing things about Stephen King. I've never read anything by Stephen King. So that is my goal, is to read more Stephen King, especially this one, because this is the only one that I physically own. And then we finally have two more. So we have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I get so much FOMO whenever someone talks about his book, because I've heard that everyone enjoys it. It's heartbreaking, and there was a lot of trigger warnings in it, which is obviously completely understandable from what I've heard about this book. But generally I'd love to read the whole series in 2025, but I'm just putting this one on there because even if I start the series, fantastic. This has been on my physical TBR for way too long. I just need to read it. I always hear people talking about it. I'm like, I need to read this. I'm getting FOMO. I don't know what you all are obsessing over, and I want to type thing. So I need to read this in 2025 also. And then finally we have Underlock by Mara Zapata. I haven't read a Mara Zapata book in so long, and so obviously I would love to read all of Mara Zapata's books. So I would love to read another one. Actually, I just lied a little, because I recently read a Dear Aaron and Rhythm called Melican, I think so say it. So I did kind of just lie. But I mean, like, this is kind of like the OG ones, one of her more popular ones. So I'd love to get into this one, although I have heard some negative things about this book specifically, and I'm a little bit nervous now. But it says, after moving to Austin following 6 months of unemployment back home, Iris Taylor knows she should be glad to have landed a job so quickly. With the business is owned by a member of the same motor club her strange father used to belong to. Except Dexter Locke might just be the biggest jerk she's ever met. He's rude, impatient, and doesn't know how to tell the time. And the last thing they ever expected was each other, but it was either the strip club or the tattoo shop. She should have chosen the strip club. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this one does sound very, very interesting. So hopefully I get to it in 2025. So those are the 25 books I would like to read in 2025. Hopefully I get to all of them, if not even just half of them, you know? Yeah, I'm determined to get to all of them. But thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you're watching till the end, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.